Hello and welcome to our book study. So tonight we are doing the Awaken Your Inner Fire. This is a book by Heather Ash Amara, and I'm going to get my screen up and going. So as we're preparing, I tend to make you a slideshow or presentation to go along with this one so that we can follow along and participate. So as I'm getting that up and going, go ahead and drop who you are, where you're from. If you read the book or if you're just tuning in, you don't have to have read the book in order to participate. And what did you think of the book if you did read it? So go ahead and let's get that up and going. Make sure I know where everything's at. So we're going to share the screen. And if that's not trippy, right? Here we go. And presentation mode. So Awaken Your Inner Fire. This is a book about awakening your passion, the passion that fuels you to find and move forward with your purpose. Now, if you make comments, go ahead and drop them in. I won't be able to see them while I'm in present mode, but I will get back to you. And it also just keeps the conversation going so that we do feel like we're participating. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay, and then go ahead and just participate as if you were watching it live anyways. All right, so this book study is for your self-development. And every month we do a book study and we're talking about how we can implement the teachings of the book into our life. Often we read a self-help book, self-development book, or any type of book, and it really inspires us and motivates us for that time being, but it only gives us a little bit of fuel just to get us to the next book. And we want to really try to implement and learn. I recommend if you find a really fantastic book to have it as your own copy and keep coming back to it and participating it and ingrain it within you if it felt really good. So often we're just hopping from one thing to the next, which we're going to talk about a little bit within this session, and realize what is it that we're really searching for. So when we talk about awakening your inner fire, yes, we are talking about the motivation that comes with passion, but we're talking about this deeper flame, this deeper motivation, not this surface level motivation. And surface level motivation is really when we watch an inspiring YouTube video or reel and we read the book or we have a quote or someone says something to us and it gives us enough fuel to get us through the day, the week, maybe the month, or if we're lucky, the season. But then that flame starts to dwindle because that's not the deep flame. And we're using this blue flame rather than this little spark. Okay. So awakening our inner fire is this deep motivation that stems from passion and purpose. So this is a hot topic right now because so many people are experiencing it. So go ahead and give a raised hand or a fun emoji, GIF, or just say, yes, me, if you've been experiencing burnout lately. What is burnout? Like, we know that we just feel depleted. So sometimes it can be adrenal fatigue. It can also be that you've lost sight, verb or correction on here, but if you've lost sight of the passion and the purpose that was your fuel, that you feel lost, you feel fragmented or literally burnt out, like you're completely depleted. And that's where we can tell the difference between if we just feel like we've lost our way, we feel fragmented, this is where we've lost our passion and our purpose. If you are feeling burnt out, like there's just no more fuel in the tank, it has been sucked completely dry, and you feel like you need to just lay in bed for a month, that's probably adrenal fatigue, which those two can go hand in hand. All right. So busyness. Busyness is one of the things that she instantly addresses within the book. And this is something that I often talk about. And for those who are in my programs, this is essential for you to keep coming back to keep noticing. Busyness is the belief that we don't do enough, that we don't have enough time to do the things that we want to or that we need. And we just keep having these tasks and these to-do lists, and there's just never enough time to get it all done. And often we find that the busyness is really just a distraction. It's often a self-destructive way of being that is fueled by limited self-belief, subconscious beliefs. And they're blocking us from enjoying success, satisfaction, and happiness. It's an engrossment, an attachment to things outside of yourself. It's things that are not the present moment. So maybe you're obsessed with things in the past, or you're planning the future, and you're having this attachment to trying to make something happen that might be outside of your control. So busyness comes in those two layers, that it's generally stemmed from a subconscious limiting belief that's telling you that you are not enough, that what you have is not enough. And so you must do all of these things to be of value, to be enough. And of course, that's not true, right? You are enough and you deserve love and happiness and success and satisfaction. Me personally, I have to remind myself of this often, that I have an extreme attachment with busyness, in this feeling that I have to do more, that I have to earn something. And I have these fluctuations where I can get myself back in check. And then sometimes it does run rampant. And we're going to talk about some of those deeper reasonings behind busyness. And what busyness is really a distraction. It's self-destructive, but it's also a distraction, or what I often call numbing out. But what would be the opposite of that? So purpose, right? Most of us, when we are really trying to self-actualize, when we are wanting to really find our way and our place in life, and we want to feel like we have purpose. Purpose is our ability to use our gifts or our zones of genius to positively impact us, all of us. It is generally fueled by a passion for showing up as our authentic self in the present moment and for giving while simultaneously empowering ourselves and others, right? This is what we typically crave. We're all craving purpose. Most religions are based on what is our purpose in life? What is the purpose of life? What if the purpose was just for you to show up as the authentic you? Now, for some of us, we're going, I don't even know what the authentic me is because I'm so burnt out or I'm so lost from my ways. And this is where we can come back to it. And often most teachings, it says the purpose is just love. And so if we've strayed away from love and we've gone into fear, then we need to come back to love, coming back to holding space. Now, numbing and distracting. This is where busyness can come in. So what are we numbing and distracting from? We're numbing and distracting our feelings and our emotions. So that's what we're going to talk about next. But let's talk about what are some of those things that we can be doing that maybe we know we don't feel good after we do them, and we tell ourselves we don't want to do them, but somehow we keep finding ourselves back to it. Limiting subconscious beliefs, telling us, blocking us from the life of success, satisfaction, and happiness. Those things are often vegging out on the TV or the phone, the scroll, or the keep next, next, next. And we're doing those because we're procrastinating. We're in avoidance of processing emotions, or maybe we're in avoidance of allowing our success, allowing our satisfaction, allowing our happiness. We're doing this by distracting ourselves, by indulging in the shows or social media. We can also do this with shopping and buying, an insatiable consumption of buying or eating to try to fill ourselves up. And what we're really trying to do is not only fill ourselves up, but we're also trying to push down. And I say often when I've worked with people in the past with eating disorders of binge eating and overeating and just not having a healthy relationship with food. When we're binge eating and we're overeating, and we find ourselves in the cabinet at night, because it's typically around those times that these emotions are getting stirred up and we're getting back into our head and we're trying to push all of the emotions down and we're trying to weigh ourselves down, and we gain all this weight because we're trying to find grounding. And if we're making our body heavier, then it makes us more grounded. And when we get more grounded, we get tired. And then when we get our feelings start coming up, we can just sleep our feelings off. Have we experienced this before? I know I have. I've been there before. And rather, and this is what I did, is I would sit myself in meditation and I would allow those feelings to flow through me. I would sit with the feelings in that present moment and not try to run away from them. If we're feeling empty, we're feeling lacking, maybe we're buying. And in that same sense, we're trying to weigh ourselves down. We're trying to calm and ground ourselves by having this external weight of things, clutter in our lives. And then on another end, we can do this by wanting to fix and clean. Maybe we're trying to control things by constantly fixing, cleaning, taking on projects, and trying to fix anything that is not ourselves. And that's because we're trying to control. And by doing that, maybe it's diving into our work. Maybe it's, for me, taking on multiple certifications, putting too much on your plate, creating busyness as a form of distraction so that you don't have to sit with the emotions, because at some point in our life, we were probably told that emotions are bad, or having too many emotions makes us look like we're crazy. Right? Who's heard this? Maybe we've seen these negative associations. So we're going to catch ourselves anytime we notice the busyness, anytime we notice the numbing out. And we're going to give ourselves new words. I have faith that everything is unfolding just as it should. I have faith that everything is perfect. I have faith that I am enough. And we allow ourselves to notice those blocks and give ourselves positive words, so that if we are in our self-development, or if we're in our career and we notice that we have a block of something that we need to do and we just can't push past it and we're trying to distract ourselves instead, that we stop, we notice it, we recognize it, and then we recognize the words that are going through our mind. That if it's telling, I'm just so tired, I can't do this right now, that we tell ourselves, no, I am getting stronger, I'm pushing past this block. I have faith that everything is unfolding just as it should, and I am growing, and I am going to push back, and I'm going to go through this. I'm going to bust through this block. We notice the emotions, whether it's a feeling inside of our body or it's a thought inside of our head. I often noticed that I would go to the refrigerator and I wanted the ice cream because I had so much just this chaotic vibration in my chest that I wanted to cry. And I was suppressing that with ice cream, with sugar. A lot of us do it. because it gives us some brain chemicals, and it also distracts us, gives us some comfort, and we push that feeling down. Rather, we should let it out. Let it out. So notice your intention. Again, keep noticing your tension. Whenever you're trying to control something, you're saying that I must do this, or she or he must do this, or they should have done this. They never, they always, these very tense, fixed terms, whether it's with ourselves or with others. Notice if we're approaching the situation with creativity, which is an open feeling, or control, which is a constricted, tense feeling. Anytime you find yourself in suffering, which is going to be limiting and is the opposite of your purpose and your passion. Anytime you find yourself suffering, about 99%, she quotes this, 99% of the time, it's because you're trying to control a person or a situation, subtle or not so subtle, to achieve a desired outcome. Now, in work and in our career, yes, we have to have outcomes. But when we hold our vision and mission statement and we're trying to create an outcome is much different than saying, I need to do this. And we're coming from a place of tension and busyness. When we can get strategic with our vision and mission statement within our business versus going, this is what I'm supposed to do. And maybe that this is what I'm supposed to do has turned into this negative feeling versus a creative feeling. And we notice by tapping into what feeling is here. And so often, many of us are detached from noticing the feelings in our body, that we've just noticed them in our head because we've become disembodied, because we've wanted to disassociate with our body because we don't want to feel those emotions. That's been our safety mechanism, because the emotions got so strong and overwhelming that we didn't know how to deal with them, and no one ever taught us how to deal with them when we were a child. So then it's our job as adults to learn how to participate. And so the big difference is fear or scarcity and love or abundance. So fear-based is a this or a that. There isn't enough. I'm not enough. I'm in this survival mode. I'm people-pleasing. And it's this feeling of contraction, of tension, of closed, of blocked. And we can know this because our breathing gets more shallow and our shoulders start coming in, and we start holding this tension and pain in our body. We become stiff. And when we go to reach for something, we're like, oh, we've got all this backache. And we've got all this pelvic tension. Maybe it's our knees and our hips, our spine, our neck. This is because you're in scarcity and you're in contraction, you're in tension, you're in survival mode. And on the opposite end of that, we can breathe into it, we can expand, we can open up, we can embrace from an open feeling this abundance rooted in love, acceptance, hope, trust, and faith. This opening up is where the healing happens. This opening up is where we function from passion and the ability to ignite. When you are closed in your tension, you're cutting off, you're stifling your flame. There's no oxygen, there's no breath. Your flame cannot be ignited if you're snuffing it out all the time. We have to open up a space for it. There has to be oxygen, there has to be flow for our passion, for our flame to be ignited. In order to heal, we must open up. We must let go of control in order to heal. And ways that we can do this is we embrace our emotions, because our emotions are there and they need to be heard. They need to be processed. They're going in our mind, into our body, and then we're stuffing them down, as we've talked about. And this heaviness that we're carrying around is due to all the emotions that we're trying to push down and ignore. And they don't go away. We just end up carrying them. And sometimes they surface up unexpectedly. And we're like, where did that come from? Emotions are energy and motion. They need to be felt. They need to be released in flow. We want to be in flow. We want to be in abundance. Our emotions are our work. When we feel these emotions coming up, we're like, ooh, this is something I need to process. Everything that we crave in life, we're craving it because we're seeking the emotion, the feeling that it gives us. So we're seeking, oh, let's put these feel good emotions in me, except I don't want to let go of all the other ones. So I'm just going to hold on to them and I'm not going to make space for all the feel good ones. No, we have to expand. We have to open up. We have to release all the ones that we don't want so that we have room to let in all the ones that we do. And it's this beautiful process, this beautiful journey of opening up. We think of things like meditation. We think of things like swimming, dancing, singing, playing, this connectedness, this flow, this spirituality feeling, this feeling of being a part of something bigger, of something more. This all comes from this feeling of openness. And if you haven't been feeling that lately, then it's time to start retraining. It is possible, it is available to you, and you are enough and you are worthy of it. So start turning on the radio, start singing to the songs, start allowing yourself to dance. If you notice it's hard to dance, you got to let yourself let it go. You've got to wiggle it out. You've got to be silly. You've got to have play. You've got to open up to release. And you can do these little things by yoga nidra, meditation, yoga. You can ease yourself into this. You can also just shake it out and just try to be playful. So how do you continue this work? Well, as I mentioned, we can read a book every single month and you can get the feel good feelings and the short-term inspiration from it, or you can actually make a plan to start implementing this. That's the hard part. And then not only do you get it started, but to maintain it is the hardest phase, because it's easy to go back. It's easy to go back to those feelings of not feeling enough, not feeling worthy, putting the busyness ahead of everything else. But if you're really truly wanting to heal, whether it's adrenal fatigue or you're wanting to ignite your passion, self-development is a must, and implementing the self-development it's pivotal. You can do this through books. We also have a meditation course that is starting this month. And of course, it's more than just learning meditation. It's learning the coping, it's setting the goals, it's having the accountability. It's a whole month. So it's 4 sessions weekly. And then it's going to be put into a course platform so that you have that available as well. Now, there's also coaching and consulting that's available, especially if you are needing this for career development, that you can reach out to me. We do have a book study every month, so look out for that. You can also schedule a consultation with me if you'd like to talk about hypnosis, holistic therapy, or if you'd like that career development as well. You can go over to calendly.com/IzzyNally, and there will be those 2 options. There's the career option, and then there's the therapeutic option, and you choose. Now, I want you to comment, what are you going to start implementing? Let's make it a SMART goal. So as we make that a SMART goal, we are going to say, when are we going to do it? What are we going to do? That specific goal that you are going to be doing. Okay? When are you going to be doing it? How are you going to make yourself accountable? What happens if you don't do it? You don't move forward. Do you want to be where you are a year from now in this exact same spot, or do you want to make progress? What are you wanting to make progress to? Do you want to wake up 5 years from now and you notice in the past 5 years you have not changed, you have not made any progress? Because if you do not get yourself unstuck and unblocked, you won't. It's when we're in the space of love and abundance, hope, trust, faith, in this ability to be in the present moment and to say yes. versus to be in this closed off saying no. So you choose, and you choose how you're going to start implementing this, whether it's simply just journaling every night to convince yourself to work on yourself, or it's to really start putting all of this into practice. Thank you so much for joining me in tonight's book study, Ignite Your Fire. We have another exciting book next month. It's by Mel Robbins. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's all about living your life, and again, getting out of your own way. And then we're going to start on the series of books moving towards the end of the year, all about that millionaire mindset and embracing our money mindset. So look forward to those as well. And again, you can book that consultation at calendly.com/IzzyNally. Have a good night.